This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan, and you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am Kelly Stevens with the Northern Macomb Regional Chamber, and I am joined here today with two representatives, one from the Richmond Good Old Days, Julianne Kramer, and then I have Daniel Petronia from Michigan Peach Festival. And we're here today. You know, Macomb County is really kind of known in the northern end for their festivals at the end of the summer. We just ended up the Armada Fair, and I think they had a pretty good weather run, except this past Saturday, Sunday with the rain. But our employee in the office, Madison, runs the ticket booth, and she said the beginning of the fair was pretty well attended. She also, I don't know if you guys know, but the fair is 156 years old. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that when I was looking that up.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with Daniel on the Peach Festival. Give me a little bit of the history of the Peach Festival.
Well, speaking of old festivals, this festival started in 1931. It was a celebration of the end of the peach harvest for all the local farmers in a way to, celebrate their hard work throughout the season and throughout the year. Also, ultimately became a way to boost our local economy in the village of Romeo with, the shops and the restaurants and things of that nature that were here at that time. So, that's kind of a history of the start. And then in the mid-50s, the Romeo Lions Club kind of took ownership over it when the farmers...
I wondered when Lions took it over.
I want to say it was like 1954, 55-ish.
Okay.
That the Romeo Lions Club kind of took over the heavy lifting, if you will, of hosting the festival. And we've done so since.
So, how do you think it's changed over the years? Because I have seen it change since you guys took it over in the last, about 8 years?
Yeah, but our executive committee or our Peach Festival committee, the one that's intact, if you will, we've been, I think it's our 6th year, maybe 7th year.
Okay.
We worked closely prior to with some of the older gentlemen that passed it along to us. But I think it's changed. You know, we wanted to, as much as we wanted it to be a celebration of the harvest and all that, still continue with all the traditions. We also wanted to turn it into a little bit nicer of a food and wine type festival, live music, a little bit more.
That's where I seen your expertise came in. When you came on board, you wanted to scale it up a little bit with that.
You know, with the amount that our community's grown, especially like you were talking in northern Macomb County with the amount of folks and amount of developments, newer restaurants, newer subdivisions, more people coming out, we wanted just to attract to a little bit larger of a base. Family oriented, of course, and be able to retain our customers, I guess, a little bit longer. The end goal is to generate as much funds as possible for us. You know, it does ultimately end up being an extremely large charity event for the Romeo Lions Club. So
you guys did a redesign of the whole footprint of the
we
your
did.
Lions Clubhouse and where you were hosting everything.
We did. Over the course of the last 3 years or so, we have made some pretty significant changes in the field house, kind of taking it from ultimately what used to be the Beers Around the World area, which was on one side of the street, and then ultimately putting that area, integrating that within the larger field house, or where the nighttime music was, and more of the true genuine beer tent.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've kind of integrated it all into one location with a huge outside area, live music outside during the day. I think we've got 9 food vendors, from live fire kitchens, wood burning pizza ovens, food trucks.
Now, are those food vendors there the entire festival?
They are.
Okay.
They arrive Thursday afternoon. They leave on Monday.
Wow. So you made mention of charities, that this is one of the major fundraisers that the Lions have that gives to the charities. What charities do you guys support?
We start with Leader Dog for the Blind.
Yep.
That's kind of a Lions International charity.
Mm-hmm.
So they are our biggest benefactor by far. However, we support about a dozen or so different southeastern Michigan charities, and then several local Romeo charities as well, from the uh, Agape Center,
Mm-hmm.
Samaritan House, things of that nature. So
What in your mind do you think is the biggest attraction for the Peach Festival?
it's nice because it is an entire village event, right? So
Right.
I don't want to say that there's one attraction better than the other. It starts out on Thursday night. Metro Electric here in Romeo, which is a big electrical contractor, hosts a 5 and 10K run. Then we roll right into Thursday night, where we do not charge to get on the grounds at the Lions Club where the carnival's located. We have live music that night as well. Of course, the beverage areas
Always popular, isn't it?
and the food trucks will be making food and stuff like that. But then, come Friday throughout the rest of the weekend, there's tons of stuff going on all over the village, not only just on our Romeo Lions Club grounds, from fireworks to the Kids Fest, which the Parks and Rec, along with DTE and the DIA host right in the Village Park on to Sunday for the parades, which obviously the Chamber hosts the Children's Parade, and then right into the big parade on Monday and stuff like that. So there's a ton of stuff all weekend. So I don't want to say that there's one major main
Stick out.
attraction. What's I think really cool about it for people traveling from outside of our community is whatever day you decide to come. I think there's going to be full stimulation all day for any age group, any demographic. So
I see this year there's a couple craft shows going on. One of them's fairly new that's going to be held at the bowling alley. Is that?
That is new. That is new to us. So I'm not super familiar with a lot of the different entities. We do advertise all of them on our websites and stuff like that. So we do get a main list of the events, and we try to provide, a pretty accurate list of what's going on throughout the entire village to the best of our ability. However, there are quite a few craft shows. We don't have one that we are directly affiliated with anymore.
Used to,
We
right?
we
Yep.
used to have the one that was over at the Croswell area, but some expansions of Romeo schools and stuff like that, we just were not able to host it there. So I know there's a big one at Frontier Town. I believe Westview still does one, and now it looks like the Summit
Yeah.
Entertainment Center will be doing one as well. So I know those are a big hit. They typically run throughout the entire weekend. So
And I think it brings a lot of foot traffic to any kind
for
of
sure,
festival,
for sure.
because those people want to go see all of that, and then they end up downtown. You know, the Queens have always played a major role in the event. And back in the early days, they had quite a role. They would go to Washington, D.C. to present peaches to the president. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. That's
I only know that because I had a peach queen, so that's why.
We should try to reinstate that.
Right. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. Then they also always went down and threw out the first pitch to a Tigers game, too.
Well, I know some of our past Peach Queens, recently have done some national anthems and things like that at different
Yes.
sporting events, and we've had some really talented gals. So that's pretty awesome.
I'm going to circle around to Julianne. You're with the Good Old Days Festival. Give me a little bit of history because I know it's a little bit younger than the Peach Festival.
We are the youngest, yeah, out of the three. But actually, this is our 60th year.
Okay.
60th
It's a big
anniversary.
big
It
year.
is. So I was actually getting the background of this today from the mayor, whose father was one of the original chairmen of
So
this
that's
event.
Mayor Tim Ricks.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So his father, Leroy, how it initially started, Leroy owned the barber shop, and they wanted to, in that north end of town, create kind of like a Western theme to that area. And so they initially started the festival as part of fundraising efforts to make those changes. That never really came to fruition, but it started this Good Old Days Festival. So it was really themed around, times before, and they, in that first year they would invite people who had moved from Richmond to come back, and so really had a grassroots kind of start.
How did you said you've been with the committee for about 10 years.
Yes.
So what do you are you a resident of Richmond? I take.
Yes. Mhm.
So what have you seen change in this festival?
It's, I went when I was younger. I
As a
remember
child.
as a child going up to the fair was, the Midway was the biggest thing. And also the ping pong ball drop, which is actually original to 1964, if you can believe that. They used to,
Now, what is that?
so the ping pong ball drop is where they used to have a helicopter that would drop hundreds of ping pong balls out into the streets,
Oh,
and they
geez.
would have prizes,
Oh,
on stickers,
okay.
and you could redeem them. So that was still happening even when I was younger, but now they have a machine that basically they drive down Main Street after the Children's Parade, which was also original to the 1964 festival, and ping pong balls are shot out into the crowd, and it is, it's like Easter eggs leveled up,
Oh, wow.
so they can redeem prizes at the barn, and then there's usually a grand prize, something like a visit to Frankenmuth or something like that.
Wow. I understand that the parade in Richmond is the largest in Michigan and has the most marching bands. Is that true?
Yeah, musical marching bands.
Yeah.
As far as we know, still that is the case.
Well, I actually did go out on the internet and it was claimed to be that. The city manager told me, because I always thought Romeo had the biggest one, but it
Yes.
is the Richmond parade.
Yes, there's quite a few marching bands, and that's really kind of a point of pride for the committee. It's kind of started with Mark Danielle, who he was actually our Grand Marshal last year, but he was heavily involved in the parade in the 80s and 90s with Mayor Ricks, and really going out and trying to get these bands to come in. And that's still something that they try to keep up today.
So basically, the good old days is held in one location, correct?
Yes.
It's not spread out through town.
For the most part, the Midway, the beverage tent, that's all located in the Beebe Street Park kind of area. Of course, the parade, the children's parade, those are going down Main Street, but the bulk of the events are along.
And did I read you guys also host a 5K, right?
We do.
Yep.
Yes. Right alongside of opening ceremonies. And that benefits the track and field team at Richmond.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So your proceeds, what do they help fund?
So we have a lot of groups that kind of get involved, and this is their big fundraising event of the year. But we personally, we bring in the sports teams. So, the cross country do our final cleanup on Monday. So we always give them, funds, and the football team, they'll do cleanup. The Lions, they do a food truck out by the derbies. So I think that's one of their biggest fundraisers of the year. Sandy's Kids is a local organization through the school. And the proceeds of one of our events, the dunk tank, goes directly to them. And then throughout the year, any high school or school, I should say, team that goes past regionals, we give them an amount for making it to states. So
it sounds like heavily involved with the school district.
Yes, yeah, just very community based. So it's a little bit that weekend. We're not a huge money maker, so a lot of that just goes back into improving grounds. But we like to give out where we can, golf tourneys, anything like that we sponsor. So
very good. What do you see as one of the major attractions to the festival?
Like you said, that's a difficult, it's almost a day by day question. The Midway is huge. We have Skirbeck, and we've been very happy with them. So I think that's a big attraction, always weather permitting. The parade, people set out their chairs, the night before. That's a really big community event. The derbies, we have 3 nights of derbies, or 3 days of derbies.
I never knew you guys did that. I only thought
Yes.
that was an Armada Fair thing. And then after researching, I noticed you guys. Now, is that done right at those grounds?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it started initially with the demo derby, and then over the years grew to a bump and run and a figure 8. So
Okay.
we have Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday is the demolition derby. So, that's going on while we have the Midway going on, while we have the children's games going on. So it's, a lot of activity. And the nice thing is there's no entry as well. So, people can pick what they want to do each day. They can go up and get food and go home. We're kind of close to a neighborhood. We're about 2 streets over from my house. So people will do that. They'll go up and get food and go back. So
I know the big thing when my children were growing up here in Romeo is that Thursday night was when the kids all got to go down to the carnival. Do you guys offer discounts on any of the carnival tickets any longer?
We do not. We've had some conversation on being able to, again, do something with the school district in that regard. And, it's great that you guys do your stuff with the school district. We do a lot with Romeo schools
You
as
do.
well. not a very popular thing that we had to do a couple years ago, but we did start charging for the first time $5 to get onto our grounds Friday through Monday. But what is nice about that is we have different sports teams at Romeo High School that come in and man our gates, and then they are paid a percentage of whatever that gate take is to their specific sports team. So that's kind of a nice thing that we get to do as well in regards. But yeah, we do have to charge to get onto our grounds.
I think everybody in today's is charging. You guys, I think, were late to the table to charge.
I think we were,
But
you guys, I think, are the last now.
It's,
if that's
you know,
the case, because we were
we're so
definitely one of the
open.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the charging at the gate. I think that's just families are now expecting it. I know the first year here in Romeo, it cost a little brouhaha, but they've gotten used to it.
You know, it is tough. It was a tough decision on our behalf and our committee's behalf. However, the larger our festival started to become, we are 100% volunteer ran organization. So we did have to start subcontracting some of, it's, some of the daily, I guess, infrastructure chores, if you will. Like it's really hard to get a volunteer to be on garbage patrol for 6 hours when we've got 10,000 people on our grounds. It's a tough thing to ask.
You contract the village police and I think the sheriff department,
We do.
right? And then you got the porta potties, and I'm sure you guys have the same
Yeah,
scenario going.
Yeah, for us, I'm sure it's got to be similar to you. We supply all the porta potties throughout the village of Romeo. We do contract off-duty Romeo police to come down as additional security. We have the sheriff's department full time, and then we have a third-party security company that we contract as well, and they're on site 24 hours a day to make sure that all of our vendors are there. They can do as minimal as minimal as possible to break down and set up each day. So we do have 24-hour security throughout the weekend.
So what is the Midway company you guys use?
Mid-American Carnivals out of Indiana, I believe.
They've been coming for years, haven't they?
We've got a great relationship with them, and again, it's a tough thing when it comes to negotiating those contracts for us, because the price does increase. We are fortunate that we had I shouldn't say fortunate. We're fortunate that we've got a contract that's locked in for several years, but we did have to raise the price a little bit 2 years ago as well in that regard. But again, that's something that's kind of out of our control.
I have a funny story. I used to own a B&B, and that group, they're from overseas, typically the workers. So they are traveling around the country, and when they'd come, they'd book my rooms to get a hot shower and a breakfast.
Can't blame them.
No, I know. Yeah. So what is going to be the price for the bracelet this year?
The armband for all the rides daily is $30. So it's a $30 armband. So it is a little bit pricey, but it's a pretty big setup that we have. So.
And Julianne, what do you guys know? What?
Yes. So it'll be $25. And then we do, if they purchase their Sunday tickets ahead, there is a $5 break on the bracelets.
Okay.
So that's a nice thing if they want to go Sunday. But, if you're riding all day, it all adds up. So
My kids
could be worth it.
would ride all day, every day.
Yes.
So what else do I have here? So you did say you guys work year round, and the executive committee works year round. Do you come back to the table at that next, right after the events, and say, oh, we don't want to do this anymore, or we should implement this idea?
For sure. That's one of the main reasons why we meet as soon as we possibly can. Post, everybody takes a little break, but, post our festival, we try to meet within the first 2 weeks, just to take a look at, all the goods, the bads, what we think we can do better, where we made some mistakes, where we potentially had some issues, we've been, knock on wood, pretty fortunate throughout the years that we haven't had any major issues or anything like that. We've had some pretty fantastic weather the last handful of years. However, we've got facilities, tents, things of that nature that if we do get any kind of inclement weather, we're pretty prepared for it.
Except
and,
for the
and
parade.
those are some of the big changes that we try to make every year too. If you remember last year, we didn't have very much rain, but we certainly had sun. And I think Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think we teetered right around that 90-degree plus mark. So it wasn't hiding from rain; it was hiding from sun. So we kind of take into consideration every year when we build out our infrastructure of, not only could we have some rain, but we could definitely be in that scenario again where it's really warm. And I know we felt it last year here in Romeo on that Monday. I think we were a little quieter on Monday than we usually were, just
Because of the heat.
because of the heat. No,
Yep.
the parades from when the chamber starts their parade in the morning at 10:30, and we roll into the afternoon parade on Monday. There's people out pretty
All
much at
day.
Main Street, and trees and buildings are their only shade, and it's a 5-6 hour day if you're out there for the long
Oh,
haul.
yeah.
So
Yep. So, Julianne, your children's parade is not on the same day as your big parade. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, it's on Saturday.
It's on Saturday. Who does the committee run that?
Yes, so we have a event chairperson, and she's ran it for a long time, probably 12, 13 years. And the nice part is there's usually a person selected from that group to then go up to the big parade on Sunday. So
Okay.
it's like the best pick gets to go.
Overall?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so that's a fun thing.
So the children's parade does that too, but they're there all day then. And we have the little Miss Peachy King or Mr. Peachy King and Peach Blossom, and that's a long day for those little kids
Yes,
because they do this parade and then they go out to do the big parade. So Dan, give me the dates for this year's.
Thursday, I think that's the 29th
Yes.
through the 2nd, which is Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the Labor Day weekend, obviously.
And everybody says because I get a lot of phone calls for the chamber, where is the Peach Festival? I said, come to Romeo, you'll find something to do all over. Thursday and Friday are kind of lean days until the carnival opens up, I think, on Main Street.
Yeah, Carnival opens at 4 on Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay.
So
And runs till
the Carnival itself runs to 11.
okay.
Then our beverages, our field houses and stuff like that are there till 12.
And give me the dates for the good old days.
We start on the 5th, so we pick up just a couple days later on that Thursday, and then we run through the 8th on Sunday.
And do you have hours or?
Yes, all over the map. Our carnival kind of runs the same for that Friday. We don't have the carnival on Thursday anymore, but 4 o'clock on Friday and then noon on Saturday, and that goes until 11 p.m. as well. Same on Sunday, but there's usually quite a break between 1:30 and 3 when the parade is hitting downtown.
Yeah.
So I know in Romeo, the Record newspaper produces a brochure, and then also the Mitt TV does a nice magazine, and the insert in there is the schedule. Do you guys have something like that good old days?
Yes, yeah, we have a brochure, and that is not out yet, but it should be this week, I would imagine. So, and that gets distributed locally and all across northern Macomb County.
So I'll start with you, Julian. Give me the website for the good old days.
Oh, richmondgoodoldaysfestival.com.
And Daniel?
We use discoveringromeo.org.
Yep.
And what's pretty cool about that is we do have an app that goes along with that website. So you can kind of have a handheld version, but it is a really good smartphone version website as well. Around town, we'll have some QR codes that you can just scan real quick and it'll take you to that stuff.
Right
as
to
well.
that.
So,
Yep. Well, I want to thank both of you for coming in today and giving us the updates on these upcoming Peach Festival and Richmond Good Old Days. I have a few announcements from the Chamber. The Chamber's Member of the Month this month is the Romeo Community School District. So if you check out our Facebook page and our social media, you're going to see postings about the district all month long. Then we have a brand new website, www.northernmacombcc.com, where you can post events, job openings, and member-to-member offers. And then we have the Michigan Peach Festival Children's Parade that the Chamber's hosting, and our theme this year is sports. So if you'd like to join us, go to the website and you can grab the brochure. And then again, our 38th annual Golf Invitational is coming up on September 10th at Greystone, and we still have openings for players. So again, thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.
And I hope you have successful festivals.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan, and you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.